There is a version of you that has been earning your place at the table ever since you were small. Nobody sat you down and taught you that. You just learned it on your own, watching, feeling, adjusting, making yourself easy, just so you'd be easy to keep. Today, I'm going to tell you where mine came from. I'm a little bit, it's going to be interesting. We'll see. Then we're going to find out where yours lives. Not in your head, probably in your body, because that's the only place this actually gets to change. Stick around. My friend, not broken, disconnected. That's what I keep coming back to, because most of us are walking through life thinking that we need to fix ourselves, do more, be better, when really we've just gotten disconnected from who we are. Welcome to Mindset Medicine. I am Dr. Tanya Berfield, speaker, mindset strategist, and someone who believes that real change happens when we bring together science, soul, somatics, and a dash of hippie woo. This podcast is all about coming back to yourself, about learning how to know yourself, trust yourself, align your life, and lead with confidence, integrity, and real power. Some weeks, it's just you and me, diving into mindset shifts, nervous system work, and the patterns that keep us stuck in overthinking, overfunctioning, and burnout. Other weeks, I'm sitting down with people who are doing something just a little bit better than we are, whether that is leadership, parenting, money, health, or just how they're showing up in their lives. Not because they have it all figured out, but because they have found something that works, and we get to learn from that. So if you have been feeling overwhelmed, stuck, or like you are doing everything right, but something still feels off, my friend, you are in the right place. Okay, I'm going to start with something I don't usually say out loud, so I'm going to need you to bear with me. And if you are my mom or my dad, maybe you should swipe left. You are not going to love this, even though that is not where my intention is going at all. So my parents were just kids when they had me. Not irresponsible kids, just young, really young, unprepared for what was about to happen to their lives. They found themselves pregnant, suddenly married, and adult all in the same breath. And then they had to figure out how to actually do it. Military moves, money that didn't stretch, two people who were still becoming who they were going to be, now responsible for who I was going to be. And here's the thing I need you to hear before I go any further. They did it. They raised my younger brother and me. They stayed married 53 years and counting. They figured it out. They figured it out really well. If you told them today that any of this left a mark on me, they would be mortified. Genuinely. And so this is not a story about bad parents. This is a story about what happens even in a house where everyone tries their best and they turn out okay. Because somewhere in the middle of all of that survival, I learned something. Not something that was directly said or that I was taught. I just simply absorbed it. I learned that I needed to be easy, low maintenance, useful, not a burden, a kid who didn't add to the load because the load was already so heavy. I learned that being wanted was not a given. It was something that you kept earning. Maybe your version didn't come from young parents and hard circumstances. Maybe it came from a divorce, a sibling who needed more, a parent who was physically there, and maybe emotionally somewhere else entirely. It doesn't matter where yours came from. What matters is whether it's still running you. And I'd bet money that it is, or you wouldn't still be listening to me. So here's the thing about a belief that you pick up at 6 or 7 years old. It doesn't stay a childhood belief. It grows up with you. It just changes clothes. It stops looking like be a good kid and starts looking like say yes to the extra project, even though you're already stretched too thin. Or it starts to look like host the holiday yet again, because if you don't, who will? And what does that say about you if you don't? It starts looking like being the friend everyone calls when things are falling apart, and never quite being the one that anyone thinks to call and check in on. I see this constantly in the people that I work with. The pattern doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show up wearing a name tag that says childhood wound. It shows up looking like competence, like reliability, like being, frankly, a really good person to have around. And that's exactly what makes it so hard to catch. You can't see a pattern clearly when it's wearing your best qualities as a disguise. Here's what nobody tells you about it. From the inside, it doesn't feel like a wound. It feels like generosity. It feels like love even, until the resentment shows up. And it always shows up quiet at first, a sigh that you don't mean to let out, then not so quiet. You're folding someone else's laundry again and you're furious and you don't even know why, because on paper you offered to do this. Nobody made you. I want to be really clear about something, because this is the line that changes everything if you let it land. Overgiving is not kindness. It is not. Overgiving is insurance. It's a down payment on being kept. It's small, constant, exhausting effort of making sure that nobody ever has a reason to reconsider whether or not you belong. Did you hear me? Small, constant, exhausting effort to make sure nobody reconsiders whether you should be there or not. That hurts, doesn't it? All right, so let's talk about what this actually does to you physically, because this isn't just a story that I'm telling you. This is nervous system science. When you spend years believing, even unconsciously, that your worth has to be earned, your body doesn't get to relax, ever. Not really. Your nervous system treats being loved the same way it treats a performance review. Something to prepare for, something to get right. And a body that constantly braces for evaluation is a body that is constantly quietly in a low grade fight or flight. That's why you're tired in such a deep way that sleep doesn't touch. It's not that you're not resting enough hours. It's that even in the hours you're resting, some part of your nervous system never fully stands down. That's why your jaw aches by the end of the day. That's why you can be sitting completely still, doing absolutely nothing, and your chest still feels like it's bracing for something to be asked of you. Your body knows the difference between generosity and earning, even when your mind is still calling. It's the same thing. Your mind can be fooled by a really good story, but your body can't. Your body will always tell you the truth. That's actually the whole premise of the work that I do, science, soul, and somatics. The mind will rationalize almost anything. It can disguise it. It can hide it. It can make you believe otherwise. But my friend, your body, it keeps the receipts and it keeps them good. So I want you to come back to the story about my parents for a second, because I think this is the part that people get wrong most often when they start doing this kind of work. Naming where a pattern came from is not the same thing as assigning blame. I'm not angry at my parents. I have no reason to be angry at my parents. They're great. I love them. I'm proud of who they became and what they built out of a genuinely hard start. So this isn't a takedown. It's an autopsy and a loving one. I'm not looking for who to blame. I'm looking for where this started, because you cannot put down a weight that you cannot locate. So if you're sitting there right now thinking, well, my situation wasn't even that hard. My parents did a good job. I don't have a right to feel this way. I want you to hear me. You do not need a villain for a pattern to take root. You do not need trauma with a capital T. Sometimes it's just two people doing their absolute best in a really hard season, and a kid that's stuck in the middle of it quietly deciding that she has to make herself smaller and more useful to stay safe. That's it. That's enough. That's the whole thing. That's all it takes. So if some version of this is true for you, I'm not asking you to dig up a dramatic story to justify this. I'm asking you to stop requiring one. Let me get specific, because I want you to actually recognize this in your own week, not just nod along to mine. This shows up when you say yes to something in 3 seconds before your body even finishes processing that question. This shows up when someone thanks you for something and you immediately deflect it. It was nothing. Don't worry about it, because being thanked feels oddly uncomfortable, almost like getting caught. This shows up when you're the one who remembers everyone's birthday, and sometimes they don't remember yours. You've stopped mentioning it because bringing it up feels like you're asking too much. This shows up in the sentence, I don't want to be a burden, which if you've ever said that sentence about yourself, I want you to notice that sentence is not humility. It's a little bit martyrdom. And it's definitely the 6-year-old talking. I picked up a crystal recently. It was actually recommended with some work I was doing on myself. And so the crystal is shungite. It's for spiritual detox and protection. And I've had it sitting on my desk while I was working through what I wanted to say to you today. And I'm going to move it to my bedroom for ongoing clearing after this. I'm not going to tell you that crystals fix a nervous system pattern. It doesn't. Nothing external does the work for you. But it's a really good companion while I sat with the question I'm about to ask you to sit with too. Where does earning live in your body? Not in your story, not in your head. Where can you explain it and analyze it and turn it into a very reasonable paragraph in your body? So let's find out together right now. Wherever you are, if it's safe to do this with your eyes closed, go ahead and close them. If you are driving, keep your eyes open, both hands on the wheel, and just let your attention soften. Bring one hand to your chest, right over your heart. Let it rest there. Don't press. Just let it land the way you'd rest a hand on someone you love. Take a nice big breath in through your nose. Let it fill your chest, right under your hand. And when you're ready, let it out slowly through your mouth and a little bit longer than the inhale. Let's do that again. In through the nose and out slow through your mouth. One more time. In through your nose, filling all the way up under your hand and out through the mouth, like you're fogging up a mirror, slow and long. Now, keeping your hand right there, I want you to ask your body one question. Not your thinking mind, your body. Where do I still feel like I have to earn this? Don't rush the answer with words. Just notice where something responds. Maybe it's right there under your hand, a tightness in your chest. Maybe it's higher in your throat, the place where we hold things we don't want to let ourselves say. Maybe it's lower in your stomach, that place where we carry what we can't name yet. Mine is always, always in my stomach, wherever it is. Don't fix it. Don't try to breathe it away just yet. Just breathe into it. In through your nose, out slow through your mouth. Now silently or out loud if you're somewhere that you can. I want you to say this. Repeat after me. I was never the problem. The pattern was protecting a kid who did not feel safe yet. Let's say it again. I was never the problem. The pattern was protecting a kid who did not feel safe yet. Good. One more breath in through your nose, all the way to the bottom of your lungs, and hold it just for a second at the very top, and let it go slow through your mouth. Let your hand stay on your chest for just a moment longer. There's no rush. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. That right there. That was the whole point of today. Not a new mindset, not an affirmation you repeat in the mirror until you sort of believe it. A felt sense in your actual body, even for just a few seconds, that you don't have to keep earning something that was supposed to be yours all along. Here's what I want you to sit with this week. Whatever version of you first learned this rule, at whatever age this started, you were doing something smart. You figured out how to stay safe in a situation that was doing its best, but couldn't hold everything. That was intelligent. That was adaptive. It kept you okay when okay wasn't guaranteed. But you're not 6 anymore, or 8, or whatever age you were when you learned this. You're a grown-ass human. And the table you're sitting at now does not require a toll at the door. Nobody is checking your usefulness before they let you stay. Except for you. You're still checking it every single day in 100 small ways that you have stopped noticing. And now it's time for you to stop. I'm not going to pretend that happens because you heard one podcast episode. It doesn't work that way. And I'd be lying to you if I said it did. This is the kind of thing you unlearn in layers over time in your body, not all at once in your head, which is exactly why next week we go a little bit further into this, acknowledging the pattern, which is what we just did together. This is the first step. It's not the whole thing. Next week, we talk about what actually takes place in surrender, to let yourself be wanted without paying for it. That one's going to ask more of you than today did. So make sure you come back for it. If what I said today landed somewhere in your body and you felt even a small shift during that breath, that is exactly the kind of work we do every single week inside my Substack. It's $11 a month, and it's where the real unlearning happens, one practice at a time, not just one podcast episode at a time. Come sit in the container with me. The link is in the show notes. I'll see you next week. I love you.